Right then, we're back with, I was going to say episode 34, but I'm not actually sure. It's like 32 or 33 of the Midnight Pod, and it's getting a bit bright because it's coming into summer. So the Midnight Pod is soon going to be the fucking daytime pod, because we generally record these at like 7 p.m. And we have Kim Sane, who is a very interesting character. Apparently your first pod you've ever done.
First pod, yeah.
I met you probably like a lot of people that have been on this pod through friends of friends of friends, and then you become friends, and then it's a very small fucking world in this like whole entrepreneurial musician sphere, which I guess you're kind of both of, which we can dive into. But yeah, super interesting character. I was, again, I don't do my research on guests usually. I just try and have like a legitimate conversation, put it on camera, and it seems to work. But first question, as usual, we'll dive into loads of shit. It's just, who are you? What do you do? What's your background? And
yeah,
we can try and keep it like chronological, I guess, from like when you started getting into the shit you do now, because it's a fucking interesting life. I'm still trying to piece together how you manage all the shit you do.
Yeah, it's been a ride until now. Yeah, so like I was born in Montreal in Canada, so I've always been a really international kid because like, you know, my parents traveled a lot.
Got that accent.
Yeah, my accent is really weird. It changes when I speak to someone in English. It's got a British accent, and then when it's like I'm speaking to someone like who's from America, I've got an American accent.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was born in Canada. I left there when I was like 3 years old. I arrived in the UK, and yeah, just like, you know, normal childhood and everything. You know, went to really good schools, and then like I traveled to, like, I lived in Paris, Hong Kong, and in different places. Like really getting that international culture. It really helped me, like, you know, connect with a lot of people really easily, because I was like, you know, always, you know, I knew a lot of new stuff really fast, and how to adapt to people and adapt to different situations.
Yeah.
And then yeah, my journey. So I mean, I started with music at first. That was my whole entrepreneurial journey. And it was at school. I was like, I think it was like 15, 16. And I discovered like Dead Mouse for the first time. I remember that.
Yeah, classic.
And mate, like, I love that song Strobe. I got into, like, you know, electronic music really fast. Such a track. It was such a long track as well. It was like 8 minutes.
Yeah.
You know,
classic.
And you know, classic Journey and everything.
Yeah.
And then from there on, I really got to like learn about, you know, what was music. Started actually, you know, like, you know, playing the guitar, piano, just trying to really immerse myself, not only from electronic music, but from a classical kind of like music side. So I did that, played in a few bands, you know, and then the whole electronic thing really got into play when I bought these pair of decks, you know. And what happened was that, like, I don't know if you remember, but like, you know, back in the days, you had the iPod.
Yeah.
And like, you had to like switch songs, and it was really annoying.
Fucking hell, time to change quickly.
Horrible, right?
It's mad.
And then I was just like, fuck, like, can I just record everything into like one thing, you know, like just a podcast, like my own podcast, you know?
Yeah.
So I bought these decks, and I started scratching, trying to put my favorite songs together. It sounded horrible, but I did the job. I had everything in like 1 hour, so I didn't have to skip through songs, you know?
Yeah.
So I practiced that a lot. And then, yeah, I went to uni, and all the entrepreneurial stuff came out, because, you know, when you're starting off to DJ and make music, you need to hustle.
Yeah.
It's a hard industry, you know? And
I nearly wanted to be in a band. Sorry, just to like, it's interesting. It's like fairly similar in that respect. I think a lot of like entrepreneurs had like some sort of creative outlet, which was like the initial trigger for them then like getting on a certain path and getting into like... Right then, you've probably seen or heard me speaking about Space Goods over the past few months. It's a new brand that I've been working on, essentially the next generation wellness brand. And our first product, Rainbow Dust version 1, is an all-in-one, super powerful daily powder concoction blend designed to unlock your supernatural self, get you into your prime creative state to do your very best work. Experience sharper focus, sustained energy, and a zen-like calm throughout the day. Just like a psychedelic microdose, but it's legal. You're allowed to actually buy it in the UK and across the world. And this is really the first product and the first version of the first product in a much longer vision. I think I'm building a brand for an industry that isn't really even there yet. It's largely illegal still across the whole world, but I think that's massively changing. And I really think Space Goods is going to be positioned as the first UK brand in this space, ready for a market that's going to explode. So yeah, really appreciate if you go check it out, Rainbow Dust version 1. building actual business and shit. So yeah, it's interesting.
I think it's transferable skills, you know. You get at a really young age. I mean, I was like every kid, you know, like selling sweets at school, like getting that sales, like craftsmanship, you know, adapting to people, adapting to situations. And then the hustle came in. And you know, the hustle at the very beginning is you have to like sell like tickets for nightclubs to get your first DJ set and all that kind of stuff. So like I did that a lot, and I realized that like one of my strong skill sets was sales. I was able to like, you know, sell a bunch of tickets and all that kind of stuff, and I really enjoyed it. And I got my first gigs, and then after you get your first gigs, you have to hustle to stay there. You know,
was this while you're at uni?
Well, I was at, well, even before uni actually. So when I started music, I was like 15, 16 at school. So we used to go out like 16 clubbing and stuff like that. Getting my first gigs, even for like half an hour, I was like 16, 17, just getting into there. And then at uni, it really, you know, pushed because I didn't have like the pressure of like school and stuff like that anymore. And I wasn't always like the best student at school. Like I was always like a kind of like a doer rather than just a learner. And like figuring stuff out, hustling, you know. And I realized today, like that's like my main skill set that got me where I am. And yeah, at school, I just felt that like sometimes, you know, I was kind of the outcast because I wasn't like the learner. And yeah, so did music, and then worked in corporate for ages, did investment banking and like, you know, other jobs, SaaS sales, you know, really corporate. I went to like, you know, a good uni. I went to like, you know, Kent, the Imperial College and stuff like that. But then everything changed for me during the pandemic. I got let go from the job, mainly because of restructuring because of COVID. And it was the first time in my life where I didn't have a plan.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I really didn't have a plan. I sat there in my room, made tons of music. It was actually the worst kind of situation that could happen to me. Like, the world stopped. There was no more gigs, no more shows. We were throwing like crazy parties before that. I realized that like, you know, if you're working for someone, it could happen today to another, like a black swan event could like really impact a lot of things. My ex, she was like in Belgium, I couldn't go and see her. And I was just stuck in a room with nothing, you know, like no job or anything like that. And I felt really weird, you know. I was just like, what the hell do I do now? From there, you know, one of my best friends, Josh, helped me out a lot. He's one you know, a great guy for me in terms of like mentoring and just different opportunities and stuff like that. And then things snowballed. I started like an agency that went well, a growth marketing agency, then an appointment setting agency, and then now a PR agency as well. So
much shit.
Yeah, a lot of stuff.
Wait, so go back then, because that was a good intro, but where did you go to uni first? You went to Kent, you said?
I went to Kent Uni.
And what were you studying?
International business. And I was really lucky to get into Kent
Uni. And prior
to
that, you were just into music. You didn't really have any necessarily business or like uni particularly aspirations. Was it just like, I'm going to uni because that's what everyone does? Yeah.
Like, man, like I was so crap at school and like I just need to get the grades. I was so bad that I repeated like my year 12.
Oh shit, really?
Which was like,
I would not be keen on that.
Like, yeah, like I was just messing around so much and people were just like, nah, like he had to redo his year 12, that's crazy, you know? I redid it. Like I messed up. At that point I just knew I wasn't academic, you know?
So
but like,
big difference.
I've got traditional parents, you know, so I was just like, I got to do this, you know? I didn't have aspirations to do anything else. And then I did my year 13, which was actually mad because I had to redo my year 12 because I forgot to tell you, I messed up my year 12 twice, but like
because you did it 3 times.
I did it twice, but like they finally let me into year 13 and I still had bad grades for it.
Fuck.
And they're like, fuck it, they're like, just like, you know, like, you know, well, the best case scenario is you have to redo your year 12 in like in January, and then do your year 13 in June, so like 2 years in one, like mad stuff. And that went really well. Came out with like 3 A's, you know, so like, it didn't get that bad. And then I got accepted to Kent Uni with a scholarship, which was really crazy at that time, because I didn't think that would happen. And I did get like other offers from other unis, but I took Kent because they were the only one that believed in me. Like this guy will probably maybe not get the grades, but we'll just give him a shot. And yeah, it happened. So I went to uni, and then the music thing came from there because I had so much free time to really concentrate on it.
Yeah.
And I came to uni as like the DJ.
Right.
You know? Just came there, I was like, I'm the DJ. And that worked out really well. Cause like first day on campus, he's the DJ, you know, just like going around and stuff. So yeah, did that. So it went really well, yeah.
So up to that point, like how professional would you say the music side of stuff was? I guess like, were you making like money from it before you went to uni and stuff?
No.
Was it more just like you just loved the hustle?
I love the hustle. I just love the fact that like you could rebrand yourself. You can, you know, like you could really focus on something. Just believe you're there. You know the law of attraction. Just go like, I'm there already. I'm getting there, even though I'm no one. You know, but I just feel so confident about everything, and everything just kind of like fell into place slowly. It was really hard. But you know, after a while, like you know, I realized that I didn't know I was an entrepreneur until I realized that like I had to pull a lot of strings to get things happening, you know. And like gigs was one thing, and then I realized that I wanted to do my own events. So I started like throwing like loads of parties and events, getting people together, managing people, doing finances, you know. But I never took it as a business. I really didn't take it as a business. That was just all fun for me, really. Yeah.
And so, how often were you spending more time doing this while at uni than you were obviously uni work, I assume?
Yeah,
that was definitely. Like your passion.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I was smashing out uni work, but like no, music was like all of it from the beginning. I mean, some people could tell me like now where I am, like, do you not regret doing this earlier? And I was like, no.
Yo, fellas, quick one. First bit of promo for the pod. You may or may not have heard, I released a fucking ecom course a few months ago. Basically spent like 6 months making it because I was in between businesses, as you probably know if you follow my shit. I must say, 12 hours long, it's fucking quality content. I was going to drop it at like 1,500 quid with some bullshit guru-y webinar and all that rubbish, but as you know, it's not my main thing. I'm working on a new brand right now, very, very fucking much in the trenches, which is why I think it's actually a better course than everything else out there, because it's built on real experience of my brands in the past and my current one. I think it's super, super valuable. If you're interested in ecom, you're already in ecom and you wanted to get into ecom, 0 to 1, starting a brand from scratch, then definitely worth investing in. Link is in the bio of this video, or podcast, Spotify, Apple Music, wherever the fuck you're listening or watching, and enjoy the rest of the pod.
Because like everything like for me right now is accelerated so fast, going from like 0 to 25 employees in a year, and people are like, you could have done that like at uni and not done uni in general, you know. But I was like, no, I enjoyed every bit of it, you know, like the music, the late nights, working and everything. Yeah.
So you get to the end of uni, because you mentioned you were like in corporate jobs and shit, which is something else I didn't know. So you finish uni. Where are you at? Like, how's the music going? How did uni go? Was there a plan in place, or did you just jump into something you didn't want to do?
So like I live like a really weird life. Like a lot of weird.
Yeah, this is what I'm figuring out. There's a lot of moving parts here.
So weird stuff. So it's still everything. Like uni was like kind of the pivoting point for me. I learned a lot of stuff, and that's why I don't regret it. So what happened in like at uni was like in second year you got to do this like year in industry thing or like year abroad. I wanted to extend my stay at uni as long as possible.
Stay on session.
Right? Like, and I was just like, I'll do a year in industry because like I was going to prove myself that I could get a job before getting a job. And it was such a shit show, like so messy. I applied for so much stuff. There was like so much competition. Like I applied for Disney, got to the final round, didn't get it. I was actually gonna give up, but my best mate Julian, he was getting an internship anyway, and I was like, I want to be with him for my final year. So then I got this like digital marketing job in the buttfuck of nowhere, like in Kent, I forgot where it was, like Maidstone or Ashford. Like I think I even had to visit like I visited the house just with my parents just before like doing the internship, and it was like I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna be here for a year, like fuck that. So I go back to France and I meet with like one of my really good friends called Marion, and like she works as an HR in this French investment bank. She was like, oh, there's this like new intern position in global transaction banking, you know. It's part of like, you know, the global transaction banking, investment banking division, whatever it is, you know. And she was like, you should apply for it. I was just like,
this was your year in industry while at uni or after?
This is while I was at uni. And then it was really funny because like she was like, yeah, you could, you know, show you what corporate life is all about. And I was like, this is the shot to try out corporate, how it's going to be like, you know? So obviously I applied and my interview was terrible. Like, I think on the first call, like the guy was just like, do you know anything about investment banking? And I was like, I know something about accounting. And he was just like, nope. And he was like, how many languages do you speak? I was like, I speak French, English, you know, Vietnamese fluently. And he was
you speak 3 languages?
Yeah, speak 3 languages, yeah.
Never been my strong point.
But it's really weird because I never thought it was a strong point, you know. I was natural for me and everything until like I did that interview, and then she called me up and she's like, "Did you pass it?" And I was like, "No way, pass that interview." Like, you know, what are you talking about? Anyway, I got to the second round randomly, asked me a few questions, and then I went to Thailand to like play music and be out with my friends and everything. And then before I went out, like I was accepted for the internship, and I was like, "What?" You know, like I can't believe it. Me in investment banking, this is crazy, you know.
Yeah.
So I go out there, and like the first day there, corporate, you know, wearing a suit. I loved it. It was nice, you know, like good food, good people, smart people, you know. Yeah. But the job was like
the lifestyle.
The lifestyle was great, but the job was just like, I hated it. I was just like, at this point, I remember I was just like, analytical job's not for me, you know? And that started my journey of thinking about, you know, I should really think about what I'm really good at, which is sales, you know? But then what really opened my eye during that part was, so at uni, you got 1 year in terms of your year in industry. And if you do 6 months, it doesn't count. So you mess up the whole entire year. And in France, the internships are only 6 months. Right? So the woman was just like, if you take this internship, you have to find internship whilst doing your internship.
So you have to do 2 to fill up the year.
Yeah. Right. But the internship I had in the UK was 1 year. So I was chilled, you know? Yeah. And she was like, do you really want to risk this? And I was just like, it is banking, you know? Like, oh, this is like my dream. I want to try it out, you know? So I did it. And during my internship, I had to hustle for another internship.
Right.
And the craziest thing happened, like I hustled. Again, power of hustling, and this is where I realized that my like I'm very good at speaking to people as well. Yeah. I don't know how this happened, but I landed like 2 internal interviews in the bank for a position in Wall Street and Hong Kong.
Oh fucking hell!
Like it's so random.
Did you want to be in banking? You mentioned just then, like banking, it was your dream, whatever. Was that just like family pressure, or did you actually genuinely want to be in banking? Because it sounds like you didn't want to be in banking, but you said you did.
It was my entourage, like, you know, like where I grew up, it was always the same, you know, route in terms of like good education, good degree,
traditional,
like consulting, investment banking kind of background. And I was never that guy. But when the shot came, you know, going like the opportunities there, I'm like, you know what, maybe I am that guy. You know, like, let's try it out, you know.
I feel like everyone watches Wolf of Wall Street, or I certainly did when I was, I don't know, 18 at the time. And I went through a period of wanting to be like in banking. Yeah. And then I did an internship in Mayfair, which I've spoken about on this pod before, when I was like 19, and then realized over 6 months I never fucking want to wear a suit ever again. And then I went down the e-com entrepreneurial, more creative route. Yeah. Sounds like you had a similar revelation to some extent.
Yeah, literally like, but that's the thing, right? Like a lot of people kind of like skip it, but you know, I'm the type of guy where I'm like, try it out. Yeah. If it's not good, get out of it. But try it out like deep as you can, rather than
don't try it. Exactly. Don't try anything.
Exactly. Yeah. Like I'm the type of guy. Like I'm a very happy guy. I'm like everyone. I've got emotions. I've got FOMO and everything. But I learn from my mistakes, and it's always like, oh, that happened. So what? You know, I learned from it. You know, and banking was like, it was crazy because like the job itself was like hard. It was really interesting, by the way, really interesting. You know, dealing with like other banks, talking to really important people. You know, investment banking is crazy. You know, there was compliance, KYC, all that kind of stuff. You know, like it was really interesting. But the problem with investment banking is that like when you start working there as an analyst, and banking generally, any sort of like financial institution, you start really like at the bottom. Yeah. Right, because you have to be an analyst, understand how everything works. Exactly. Yeah. And because of that, like, I didn't want to. I'm a fast guy, you know. I was just this is too slow for me. But anyway, so I got those two opportunities. I got the Hong Kong one at the end. Random story, like a lot of random stuff happens to me, but I don't know, like I passed the interview somehow, and then they sent me there, and I got to Hong Kong.
So you went from France to Hong Kong?
To Paris to Hong Kong during the internship. Yeah. I somehow bagged it in, going like, what is going on? I got there and wow, like complete change of scenery.
Yeah, I've been there a few times. Cool place.
Crazy stuff. 2014, so it was the time where like, thing was popping, everything was popping hard, and like, what we did was I got out there, and one of my really good friends, Gaetan, had a really good friend out there who's like a DJ as well. I didn't go out there thinking about DJing music, wherever it is. I went out there going
I feel like the whole DJ thing and then wanted to be in investment banking are polar opposites.
Yeah.
Or maybe there's some synergies. But that's interesting.
No, polar opposites completely. If like even at the bank, they were just like, what the hell, you know, like.
Yeah.
Actually, during that time, during my first internship, I was doing a lot of shows as well. Like really big shows. I was starting to getting
like
knowing
in
a lot of
Paris.
people in Paris. Yeah.
Sick.
Played at like one of the biggest like student electronic festivals, like 4 or 5K people.
Yeah.
And like whilst doing the internship at the same time, but so like the music was getting there, you know, like you know, first, second year, now doing this and everything, and then getting to Hong Kong. I got there and I was just like, let's work. Let's focus on work because now I'm in Hong Kong, like it's getting really serious. And if I do well, I probably will land a job here in Hong Kong, like the dream city, as an analyst, you know. And I was like, let's focus. So I got there, started work, you know, it was insane. I worked in the ICC tower.
Yeah.
Like crazy. I think it's the tallest building in Asia or something like that. Like crazy huge.
I've seen it.
Like 74th floor. Like I went to the cafeteria and I was just like, what the hell's going on? You know, this is insane.
It's like a simulation out there, Hong Kong, I swear.
It's crazy, right?
It's a cool place.
Dude, you know the craziest thing about that place is they're so advanced. Like from the ICC tower to the airport, you literally take an elevator from the 74th floor where it was all the way down to the train station, check in your bags there, go into the train, half an hour to the airport and you're off. Like
that's mad.
At one point, at no point you were outside. Like,
yeah, it's crazy. Hong Kong to me feels like, because I've been like Singapore and other places in Asia, it feels like kind of London in Asia.
Yeah.
It's like a very West, obviously it is like, it was Western occupied, right?
Yeah.
Like officially until recently.
Yeah.
Am I right? My history's very crap.
It is.
It feels a lot more Western than like Singapore, for example.
Yeah.
I could definitely live in Hong Kong more than Singapore. My uncle actually lives in Hong Kong.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's a cool place. So were you still working on the music, like thinking, I want to make music work, or was that just like a hobby? Because obviously you were doing a lot of it.
Always a hobby.
But did you never even think I could do this like as a career?
Nah. Like it did come like during the pandemic when like I lost everything. I started playing. Actually, pre-pandemic, there's a lot of stuff going on. But pre-pandemic, I was doing that as well. I was doing it full time for like 6-7 months. But at that point, still not, because I was such a great opportunity compared to everyone else. Like, you know, I'm here. You know, I've got this analyst role. Like, this is great. You know, so at that point, the focus was always on work. And also, like, you know, no big opportunities came. You know, but then the big opportunity came, and that's where everything changed in Hong Kong. So with my mate that I met through my other mate, he told me that like Hong Kong was like dead for like raves and techno parties and stuff like that, you know. At that point, I was starting to get into the techno scene really slowly, but he literally showed me everything about the techno scene. And through series of like random conversations, like, this is not Europe, right? Like if you go to Europe and you speak to a club manager, they probably like laugh at you. Like, who are you, you know?
Yeah.
Whereas in Hong Kong, I didn't realize it, but like it's full of expats. Well, I mean, I realized when I got there, but I didn't realize everything before I got there, you know? And because it was full of expats, if like you tell the club owner you're gonna bring a bunch of white guys, you know, coming in, he's like, hell yeah. Because the Asian kids love it. Like, you know, it's just like,
interesting.
It's a mixture of everything, you know? And they love like mixing everything up. And I'm like, yeah, let's do a party. And I was like, really? He's like, yeah, you can have this club. And it was like a small basement, you know? Yeah. And then I was just like, okay, let's do it, you know? So bam, like with the guy, my other ex that was there, me and from my friends. Yeah.
all these exes coming up.
My friend Derry, like crazy photographer, now he's killing it in Hong Kong, by the way. But all four of us, just like a small crew, got together and we threw like a party called Taganat, which is like day and night. And the first party we did, and this is like my first kind of like events management thing, you know? Yeah. Before that, I did a bit of it. I knew how it worked. I worked in it with other people, but I didn't really lead it. This one, I was leading it completely. Yeah. With Teva, you know, as one of my founders, and like, you know, Derry, awesome photography guy. You know, Meg, she was like really good, you know, bringing people, speaking to people. It was crazy. It was like, you know, that, the team stuff, you know, I was like, whoa, you know? And then, like, you know, we did that party, and that was the funniest party ever. We did it in Hong Kong in the basement. Yeah. And at midnight, the owner comes down and he's like, the cops are coming.
Oh shit.
And I'm like, so this is your club, you know? And he's like, yeah, but they're gonna kick everyone out. So I was just like, what do we do? And he's just like, I've got a bigger club opposite the street. So how about you get everyone from this club to the other club? And I was like, you gotta be joking.
On the same night?
On the same night.
Fucking hell. So were you were you playing there? Was that the setup, or did you get other people in to play?
No, so like I was playing there like with my crew, and like the whole party was down there in the basement. So we were all managing it, and then we came down. He told us that. I was just like, "What do we do?" And he's like, "Well, someone should put the electricity on the other club, like hurry up." Yeah. And then so my friend runs the other club, like switches all the lights on. Yeah, this club is humongous, like huge. It's like 3 times the other place. And I was like, why didn't you give this club at the beginning?
I swear clubs are bigger in Asia as well.
It's crazy.
I went to one in Phuket.
Yeah.
It was fucking massive.
Crazy stuff.
Yeah.
But then like the guy, I was like, why didn't you give this club at the beginning? He was just like, well, I didn't realize how many people you were bringing, like you just started off.
Yeah. So was this like a business then? You were actually charging people and obviously like making profit and shit?
Charging people.
It wasn't just like free for all.
Well, that's the thing, like when you're at events at the very beginning, you do really do it for the music, you do it for like the people.
Yeah.
So we weren't like focused on making money. We're focused more on like, let's put some good show on, let's play some good music and stuff like that. So I never like treated it like a business. So this is why like everything was really slow for me for the entrepreneurial thing, without realizing I was an entrepreneur until I was actually doing it.
Yeah.
It was all for the love of the music. That's why I said music was always been like, I would stay on it forever.
Started with a creative passion, yeah.
Yeah, it helped me with all my transferable skills basically. And yeah, so that party, like, you put the lights on, we transferred, we stopped the music from one club. I yelled on the microphone like, guys, we really have to move now. They're just like, what the hell?
Like 5 minutes of awkward silence.
Literally, and for some reason, we lost half the crowd that went from one club to the other. I don't know how that happened.
Yeah.
But everyone was in there, and then we got out, and then we finished the night at 7 a.m. We just came out. We were so happy. Everyone went to the peak. Mate, it was insane. And I was there going like, wow, that just happened tonight, And I was like, what else could happen right now,
Yeah.
And that learned me how to adapt to really crazy situations. A long story short, we just threw loads of parties and it went crazy. And like my focus was not in banking anymore at all at that point.
But did you finish the year?
I finished the year, really happy with it. Came back for my final year. When I came out for my final year, I knew at that point that corporate stuff, it really wasn't for me. And like, music, entrepreneurial stuff, creativity, all that stuff, I loved it, and I was just like, how do I get into that again? But I didn't really have a plan, I was always at uni, doing stuff at uni my final year. And then what happened was I did my master's at Imperial in innovation, thinking that like, I could like find some co-founders and stuff like that. It helped a lot actually, that master's course.
So when you went to that master's, had you decided that the whole banking thing wasn't for you?
Yeah.
Haven't done the year.
Decided completely. But that's the thing, right? Final year, you're supposed to apply for jobs, right?
Yeah.
I didn't really apply for jobs in my final year. I just decided my plan was to take a year off.
Yeah.
I just think about my life and travel and like DJ. Like I never took a break in my life, Like I know loads of people took a year break, and I haven't taken a year break since. Like what happened was that I was supposed to do that, and then by some incredible like story, I got into Imperial. Which it was the most random story ever. Like
to study innovation.
So innovation, entrepreneurship, and management.
Right, okay.
Yeah, it's a course about how to like understand how innovation works, understand new trends, build companies. So useful. Like everything in that course was so useful.
Yeah.
Like the thing in that course that I really took for granted was project management. Like that shit. Like when you scale your business, you realize that project management, like never take that for granted. Any entrepreneur out there, never take that for granted.
I'm shit at that stuff.
Like
I'm not very organized. I should probably take that course online or something. So when was this?
So 2016. 2016, I just finished uni, still not being an entrepreneur, still like figuring out what I was going to do. And then I don't know, just like the law of attraction was always there, So what happened was that like during that summer, I was gonna have a bang summer. Booked that all out, going to Bali, DJing there, it's gonna be sick, like don't know what I was gonna do afterwards. I mean, I applied for a master's at CAS, but I didn't know if I was gonna go to it at the end. And then before I left, my dad was just like, you should probably apply for Imperial. Like, because my dad's dream was always for me to get into Imperial. And I was just like, there's no point, like, they've closed the application since January.
Yeah.
And he was just like, send an email, I'll pay for like the £100, whatever it is, fee. And I was like, yeah, I'll do it. So I sent it off. I left to Bali. I brought an iPad with me, actually. That was it.
You suddenly sound foreign when you say Bali.
Yeah.
That's funny.
The French twang comes out.
Yeah.
Bunch of USB keys, playing a few shows and everything. And then as I arrived in like, I think it was KL or Bali or like somewhere like that. I received an email by Imperial going like, oh yeah, we want to interview you. And I was just like, no way. I was like, seriously? Like, 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 it's through this app, it's gonna be a video call and everything. And I was like, oh, great, So then I get to Bali, and then like, I think it's like 24 hours before the call. Probably the most important call of my life. Yeah. Because literally I didn't know what my plan was afterwards in my life, and I was like, this could be like it. And I go on my iPad to download the app for the video thing, and it didn't work. And I was like, no way, it doesn't adapt, what the hell? Yeah. So I run down to like the concierge thing, like the hotel, and I was just like, yeah, like it's not working. I need an internet cafe. He laughed at me. He was just like, mate, it's 2016, everyone's got laptops. Yeah. Like there's internet cafes here.
That's the downside of like, that's one of the only downsides of like the whole traveling thing. If you get to a situation where you're like, oh, we're going to live in this villa in Bali, and I've been there and done that, but like, and then like the internet shit, and it's like, oh fuck, I can't actually get anything done. I can't do the Zoom call because the connection's like 1 megabyte or some bullshit. But it's definitely got better, but.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, that's funny.
But 2016 was like, even worse than that,
Yeah, it was like the whole like nomad thing, I think has happened kind of since then.
Yeah, definitely.
So like obviously like not internet cafes, but shit like Dojo Bali, like co-working spaces. Shit like that, which are just abundant now. In places like that.
Literally. And yeah, I mean, I was literally fucked. Like 24 hours for the interview, like the most important interview in my life, nothing's working. And this is where the real power of an entrepreneur comes in. There's certain entrepreneurs like sit down and they breathe out and they just map out stuff. That's how I do it when I get into like shit, I just map out, whiteboard and everything, just like, the type of thing, like, again, like my friend Josh told me was just like, you can't be sad or worried about anything you can't control. I mean, technically I could control this, but like, I should put my laptop, but still I was just like going around like, putting dots together. And then I sat down and I was like, okay, I need a laptop. How do I find a laptop in Bali? Who do I contact, right? Yeah. And I'm a DJ, I probably should speak to other DJs about this situation, Yeah. And then I sent like, I just hashtag DJ in Bali. I said the weirdest message. Literally like, hey, shit. I'm Kim. Yeah. You probably didn't know me. I got an interview for this uni tomorrow. For my master's degree, it's not working. I just need a laptop.
Yeah, this is a really random combination. Like Bali, DJ, interview for a uni in London.
Yeah.
They probably think, what the fuck's going on?
Literally. And like, and I was cheeky. I was like, preferably a MacBook as well. Like, if you can,
With 16 gig RAM.
Yeah.
15 inch.
And that night, all my friends were partying because I was in there preparing for my interview tomorrow. So they didn't know what was going on. And then what happened was that out of like 50, 60 people that I messaged, like I literally copy and pasted really fast. One guy answered. And I was like, damn, some guy answered. He's like, yeah, where's your hotel? I'm there, and he's like, can I come? And I'm like, oh, my friends are out. I'm not sure. Fuck it, yeah, come. What am I talking about? Come, I need your help. Yeah. The guy comes, this guy, amazing guy called BN, and he just gives me his laptop. And I tried to use the internet connection where I was in the hotel. Crap internet connection, didn't work out. So then I left. Then he was just like, let's go and find somewhere else to do it. So we went to like the Bali radio station. We got there, it still didn't work out. The radio station guy was just like, do you want a gig? And I was just like, yeah, no, like, I need to do this interview, So go around Bali trying to find a really hard, strong internet connection, couldn't find it. And then he finally was just like, yeah, come to mine tomorrow to do this, to do the interview at 9. And he was like, I'll give you a shirt as well, because I didn't even have a shirt, And then I was just like, man, like, why are you doing this? He was just like, honestly, like I thought when I was in Komodo you were gonna mug me, but I saw you, I was like, no way, Yeah. He's like a nice guy that really genuinely needed help. And then I was like, yeah, let's do the interview tomorrow. So the next day I do the interview at 9 a.m. Mate, like I was wearing a shirt that was way too big for me and everything. Yeah. And then I pull up the laptop and I realized that the video interview is not a video conference, it's a robotic interview. Like it's one of those like, like there's a robot speaking, you have to like 30 seconds to think about the question and answer.
So after all that.
Yeah. And I was like, man, like I didn't prepare for this, Yeah. So then I do the interview like that, but it's a really awkward interview, right? Because they're throwing random questions left and right. You're going like, you need to answer these questions. And again, real prime of entrepreneur come out, and I'm just gonna wing it, do the best I can.
Yeah.
Whilst I was doing it. Yeah, literally.
Just fucking wing it.
Always wing it. Figure it out somehow. Being yourself. That's the most important thing. Don't wing it in a way like it's not you. Wing it where it's you. So if you get out of the situation, you feel proud of yourself because it was genuinely you doing it. Yeah. So I wasn't gonna be trying to be someone else. I'm like gonna be genuine me. Like on this like interview. And then whilst I was doing the interview, the aircon was turned off. So I started sweating, and I started sweating on the camera, and I swore on the camera. I went, fuck. And it was recording, so I was like, shit. So I pulled down the screen, like peeked up, and it was still recording, and I was like, I'm so sorry. You know, like, anyway, I finished the interview. I came out, Bian was just like, how was it? I was like, mate, don't want to speak about it. You know, like, probably failed it, you know? And then we realized at that point also, we were playing at a show together. We were in the same lineup. Like, it was crazy coincidence. Played a huge show in front of 5,000 people. It was insane. It was like, it was in Semignac. It was crazy, man. It was next to, I forgot the name of it now. It was on the beach, really big. And played that show, and then I left. And then as I was getting to Kuala Lumpur for another show, I got an email from Imperial saying that I got accepted on the course.
You're basically like a fucking touring DJ, but you're still stressed about getting into uni.
Yeah,
Is that because there was no money in music or what?
Not really.
What was the logic to still be like going after the uni stuff when like music was clearly a solid something there?
Mindset.
Where you just didn't think you could make it work?
No, it's not. It's more about this is crazy, right? I think it's your entourage is a lot of stuff, but it's where you were like brought up, like where I was like, you know, as a kid. I told you before, like I lived in the areas where like, you know, there was a lot of like, you know, posh kids going to like really good schools.
Yeah.
A lot of posh things happening and like going to really good unis. Yeah, you know, like posh parties between like kids when they're 15, you know, like families trying to get them married together and stuff like that. I wasn't really part of that, but I was always there, you know, and for me, seeing these people being successful in a traditional way, it enabled me to go, like, I could be really successful in that way as well. So the fact that like I had these opportunities to be successful in that way, I'm going to take it. Investment banking, Imperial, you know, like top stuff, you know.
Yeah.
And I'd never thought about like doing anything else. And music was great. You can make money in music, you can go far in music, but for me it wasn't prestigious enough until I can get to these things, right? And then I got accepted into Imperial, went to Imperial, and this is where like I discovered like another world of like people that was so motivated to like succeed, crazy mindsets, like, you know, really, you know, like young entrepreneurs that are already on that course, and just an abundance of energy, really. And I was still DJing at that time still, you know, like, but that really taught me a lot of things in terms of like what I really wanted to do later. And at that point, I remember I decided to like, I had a choice. I got an offer to go into consulting, or working for an early stage startup.
After the course,
yeah. And I realized that like I wanted to build my own company, and I was like, I have to work in the startup to understand how everything works, you know. Like, you know, like sales, marketing, operations. I was working in that startup. I like literally looked around, asked loads of questions. How do you do things? How does this work? What's this software called and stuff like that? Writing everything down one by one, like really focusing on that, you know. And that was like during the time where like a lot of people, like I realized, and this is the craziest thing about music, is that it brings people together, and you build a really, really big network just because you're a musician and a DJ.
Yeah.
So I leveraged that a lot in my life until now, being a DJ and being a musician, enabling things that people can't get to you know, to make it happen. Small things like getting people on guest lists, getting, you know, people at shows backstage, telling people, you know, what music is good. Small things like that, because the things at the end of the day, like a lot of people, like they're very traditional, like everyone works, you know. But I like when I meet someone, I like to know like what gets you going, you know, what you like in life, you know, the fun stuff, you know. And you know, like 90% of people like love music, they love going out, they love doing things. So I connect with them on like a different traditional like standpoint, going like, oh, you do this, I do that, you know, like, I'm a DJ. Oh, you're a DJ? You know, like it breaks the stigma, you know? And the conversations flow much faster, because then they see me as like, this guy is, you know, this guy's weird, like funny, but strange, but weird, but crazy. I like him, you know, like
different,
that's the word, you know?
Right, the usual halfway point break, piss break, even though we're not on the wine today because you don't drink, which actually surprised me. We can come on to that in a second, but a load of fucking interesting shit. What you're just saying is super interesting as well. I definitely agree. Just come back to Imperial. So you finished there. You said you got a job in a startup then, or
like
and when was this? 2017?
17, yeah. Got the job in the startup. And then I got the job in a startup as sales, really.
What's the startup?
It was like the first rating agency for startups. It was actually really crazy.
Oh right.
Yeah.
Like, so it was a startup that was a rating agency for startups.
Yeah. It's really funny. I can remember like once one of the companies was like, "How much do you rate yourself then?"
Yeah, legit. What, as in like employee ratings where it's like Glassdoor and shit?
No, like company ratings. It was called Early Metrics, and it was really crazy what they did. They used to. So what they did is that like they would analyze and rate companies based on 3 pillars. So the team, the technology, and the ecosystem. So at very early stages, like seed, series A, so like, those are the 3 factors that investors kind of look at when they build a company. And I realized it was really interesting as a job because I realized and learnt everything about startups at the very early stages, what investors looked at. Team, how powerful is the team? That's the main thing I realized. Proprietary technology, how do you identify proprietary technology, IP, patents. It was a 360 job. So it was really crazy because I was selling these ratings to head of innovations at really big companies. Like I sold to Barclays, Daiichi Life, Prudential, I went to events speaking with these really big corporate guys and saying these ratings that we made, and they would ask me technical questions about how's this done, what do you rate in a startup? So I had to learn about like everything about startups in general. So it really got me going on the entrepreneurial side. And I specifically took this job to learn about startups, to understand how how do you build a company, but also really looked at what startups were coming in, what people were building. It was really crazy because people would come to see us to get rated because they knew that they'll probably get their ratings transferred or given to like a large corporate. They'll probably do like a joint venture with them, like work on specific technology. So all these ideas came one by one. I was like, wow, like this is insane, and that went really well. Went really well. Then I worked for like a digital transformation blockchain company, and
fancy shit.
Yeah, 2018. So the first bull run, and I was head of sales there, but that was too early to be head of sales. It didn't really go well, to be honest. I was put in a position that was way too senior for me. Because like I'm a sales guy, but I'm not a manager.
Yeah.
And at that point I was managing stuff and it didn't go well because of that.
Yeah.
Then I took a break for a year there where I did music. Like 6-7 months where I did like pure music. And then at that point I realized that like, that was the point where I was just like, oh, let's do it full time and everything, right?
Yeah.
Horrible. Didn't go well.
This was still pre-COVID, right?
This is still pre-COVID. This is like doing all the sales jobs and going like, oh, like I'm good at sales. I can sell. Yeah. And once you're good at sales and you can sell to people, especially large corporates, enterprise deals and stuff like that, you go like, I can do anything. When you know how to sell, and this is advice to anyone listening to this, like if you know how to sell, like just that skill will get you very far in life, no matter what you do to earn your money.
Yeah, it's true, innit? Like sell yourself in like a social sense, like the ability to sell your skills, even like just to mates, like to become friends with people. It's ultimately selling, right? Like
all the time.
People that have no social skills but have like a degree from Oxford, fucking useless in my opinion. Like if you have no EQ, which I think so many people miss because everyone's glued to screens and shit these days.
It is.
So I can definitely see how being like in the music scene, like the whole DJing, helps with that massively. Yeah. Because a lot of people just don't know how to speak to people.
Exactly. They don't know how to like interact and start a conversation.
Let alone like speak to girls and shit. Like you got all these like Silicon Valley-esque entrepreneur types where they're just like on a laptop all day, which is like me as well. But you don't want to be that guy that can't speak in a social situation. Yeah. So
I mean I'm lucky because I was in like different situations like that, but there's one thing I realized in life, and this is why like for me is that like, you always constantly learn. Like you learn things like realizing it, and I didn't realize that I was in the music scene, like getting all these like skills and everything. Yeah. And at that point I remember I was like, I can sell, so I was just like, I'm gonna just take a break and do DJing like full time. And that was horrible. Because like wasn't what I was expecting.
Why?
First thing, you work at night all the time.
Yeah.
You got a different life to everyone around you. Like you're working whilst they're partying and sleeping. Like you're at the party, but you're not partying. You have to do the music, I mean, people behind you, like, yeah, you're awesome and everything. It's great. Yeah. But it's not, at the end of the day, you go back to your hotel room at 4 a.m, you're still by yourself. you know. Making music was great, you know, but again, you're just a hermit at home making music. It's great, you know, don't get me wrong, I loved it, every bit of it, but I'm a social guy, you know.
Yeah.
So at that point, I knew that like music, if it happens one day where like I make a song and it goes crazy, I'd love to do it full time. I'll do it, you know. But music as like a resident DJ, full time to get money to get work, because I was playing at a W Hotel in London, residency there for like 6 months.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
I've stayed there a few times. It's cool.
It's great. It was really good every Thursday. Got paid and everything was great. I toured Colombia, like South America. It was great as well. But again, you know, living that different life.
It's a wild life.
Yeah.
Some crooked shit.
Like so random. And then eventually got back into sales again. Like, and in between I did like a bunch of random other stuff as well. Because of my startup knowledge, I used to work for a family office as well.
Oh shit.
Yeah, so I did that, and then I didn't enjoy that too much.
Such a weird, interesting combination of things.
Yeah, it was like just try, like this is the thing, I wanted to try as many things as possible.
Yeah.
Not really knowing where I'll end up. I didn't have a 5-year plan. I was just like, I'm gonna try this out. And then eventually got back into sales. Eventually at that point, like after doing like, you know, being back into the startup rating thing, worked for the family office, helped to build the fund and everything, I was just like, come on, I'm going to go back to make money, go back to old Kim life, going back to 9 to 5, you know, it's time to settle down and chill out, you know. And that was the turning point, because literally at that point, like I got the 9 to 5, got a really good salary, a really good company.
When was this? Still pre-COVID?
This is like pre-COVID, yeah. This is 2019 now.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
I'm up to date. Yeah. I'm following.
So like the whole entire time, still no plan. And then 2019 happens. And then what happened was that got into sales, did really well there, and like it was a really good company. Got you know the ex and everything, like the girlfriend at that time.
Yeah.
And then settled down. You know, I was like, that's it. I'm in London. 26, 27. I was like, yeah, that's it. You know, like I'm ready. Go up the ranks. People were sick there, enjoyed it and everything. And then COVID happened.
So where were you working?
I was working at this.
You mentioned sales, but like where?
Yeah. It was a SaaS company, really interesting company as well, like a patent company called like PatSnap. It was crazy. Like patents are really boring in general, and what they did was that like they basically got all the patents. Like, you know, patents are actually free. Like you can look at them for free. Like you can look up them for free around the world.
I don't know much about that space, to be fair.
It's crazy. So like,
I probably need a patent for fucking rainbow dust.
You probably do.
Something
probably
like
look
that.
into it. Yeah.
Get ripped off.
It's crazy. But patents are like so not sexy, right?
Yeah.
Patents are like, and it's so important for any investor to have a patent on the idea, proprietary technology, proprietary, you know, mechanism, wherever it is. You know, like we need a patent on that. You know. Yeah, again, like really interesting stuff, random interesting stuff, you know.
Yeah.
Got onto there, and then and it was crazy. What they did was like all the patents around the world are free. They're around like there's millions of them around databases all around the world. You got like, you know, USPTO in like the States. I think that's what it's called. I forgot now. Asia, all these things, right?
Yeah.
But they're so boring, right? Because like it's like just like you scroll through them, the citations, all that kind of stuff, you know.
Yeah.
And it's really important to have that, you know. And the craziest thing, what they did was that they basically took all the patents, put it all together, used AI and machine learning to create a database of patents. So any innovator, anyone that wanted to create a new product, anyone that wanted to understand what the competition was doing, would literally go into that software, type down keywords they were looking for, and then they will tell what people are building in real time because they're finding patents. So you're able to spy on the competition, like in advance.
Oh,
you could also see like what we call like, it was like a crazy like blueprint map with like areas of white spaces of freedom to operate where like you could make new products, you know. It's crazy. Like I found that like Nike filed a blockchain application in 2017 and no one knew about it, you know, because who looks at patents? It's boring as hell. You know. And this software, I got into it and I was just like, whoa, you know, this is like easy to sell. Like, you know, people would love to have this. And they're a unicorn now.
Oh shit.
But yeah, and that's where I realized the power of data. And
do you ever get any equity in these startups?
No.
Too late or
too early short? Left. Yeah. I left too early. But it was always for me, like, it was always learning, you know, like about what people were doing. And I was going to stay at the other company for longer, but then obviously, you know, the COVID happened and everything. And then like I got let go, restructuring, you know, the sales team. And because you know it was a black swan, no one knew what was going to happen.
Like, it's been over 2 years now, isn't it? It's crazy.
And then that happened, and then then this is where I stuck in my room for the first time with like, I was like, I'm not gonna be a DJ because there's no shows going on, you know. I could have gone back to that for a second time at that point. I'm not gonna like, I can't find another job. No one's hiring. And I was sat there on my own thoughts, you know. And this is where all entrepreneurial stuff came out. Basically, I'm really good at like lead gen. I realized that, you know, really getting meetings really fast and everything. Obviously, closing deals as well, you know. And I realized at that point, like, because the whole entire world stopped, people couldn't get business. And like, people were trying to figure ways of like generating new leads, you know, to get business and everything. And then I think my friend Josh was just like, yeah, you should probably give that as a service to multiple people, like, you know, how you generate leads online by using LinkedIn and email automation and like, you know, cold calling and stuff like that. And I was like, who's gonna buy that? Like, seriously, who would, like, you know, like, it's for me, it was basic.
Yeah.
You know, I was like everyone knows how to do that.
I don't.
That's what I discovered. I was like, not a lot of people know about it. And I was like, oh, you know. So then basically, I got my first client through him. He was just like, oh, this guy needs lead gen, I'll just connect you with him. So he called me up, and at that point, I didn't have a company or anything, you know, to do this. And one of my really good friends and his business partner were starting this growth marketing agency called Growth Division, which is like crazy as well. The concept is basically, you know, when you scale a company, there's like different channels to market to grow it.
Yeah.
There's like they use a bullseye framework, like this framework which is kind of like a bullseye with like.
Is this the thing you told me about when we first met?
Yeah.
Because I feel like we spent like 50 minutes. It's super interesting, and now we're coming on to the bit that I have some context on. Yeah, I think.
Yeah. So that was like, so that was all my like how I got there. Yeah. But like, I'm not the traditional guy going, oh, I know what I want, you know, all that stuff, or like, you know,
tried a bunch of shit.
Tried so much shit, like literally. And then got to that point, and then like so they started the growth marketing agency, and channels to market, 19 different attraction channels to market, crazy framework created by the founder of DuckDuckGo or DuckGoGo, I forgot the name of the search engine now.
I know what you mean. I think it's DuckDuckGo.
Yeah. And basically in this framework you have like inbound and outbound channels. So inbound channels, you've got like SEO, content, you've got like, you know, ads, you know, and then outbound is like, you know, sales, partnerships, business development and stuff like that. And what they did when they grew their company, which they think they sold to investors afterwards, what they did was that like they tried out multiple channels with different experts, because it's impossible to get an expert at that very early stage, you know. And what people generally do is they get hiring like a normal marketing person, and they go, do this, do that, you know. And the guy ends up doing tons of stuff about really like specializing in one thing. Becomes a shit show, you know. So what they did was that they got like loads of experts and just like source experts for each of these channels, and basically the clients would test out each of these channels to see what works for them. Obviously, if you're direct to consumer, you know, there's like channels that make sense straight away. Yeah. You know, like, you know, SEO and all that kind of stuff, you know, paid ads and stuff like that. But if you're B2B, outreach is that, you know? Yeah. And what happened was that at the very beginning, they had like 1 or 2 B2B clients that needed outreach. So they didn't come to me. I came to them with a conversation, and they're like, yeah, do you want to join as a partner to like scale up the outbound side of things to teach clients about this? And I was like, that's perfect. I've got a client that needs that. I mean, a guy that I know that needs that. So can I do it under your brand? They're like, yeah, do it. And you come on as a partner. I'm like, this is great. Still no money, obviously. Like very early days. Brought him on, charged him like literally nothing, like so low, but just to get the ball going. I remember that day. I was with my 2 really good friends by the Thames, and I was like, I got my first client. They're like, first of many, and I was just like, I really hope so, you know. Yeah. That was the first time freelancing, consulting.
The first is always the sweetest. It's like even getting the first sale on this shit like yesterday.
Yeah. Like
I've done shit to much bigger scale, but the first bit is always like, okay.
It feels so good, right? Like, it's like
made something.
Yeah, literally. And then it was just all hustling from there. Like I worked with the client. I didn't know anything about operations and processes. I just did the work, you know. And then everything just kind of like went through there. So I leveraged them a lot on their knowledge. My 2 ex-partners, like Tom and Tristan, like they're amazing founders. Like, you know, like they knew everything operationally, tools to use and all that. And then I obviously brought some of my knowledge from the past startups that I worked in as well, you know, what to do and everything. But it's really scary at the very beginning. Very scary when you start like, you know, any sort of route, because like you put so much energy into it. First, I would say in the first 2-3 months, like, you have no idea what's going on. Money's coming in, but it's really low. especially when you're starting off at the very beginning. So even if I was like living on £500 for like 5-6 months, like begging it would work, you know. And the cool thing was I had nothing to lose at that point. Pandemic, everyone's at home. I was at my parents, like, you know, just like figuring out what to do. I had this only thing that was going on. So I put my full focus into it. And then the craziest thing happened was that, and this is why like entrepreneurship is all about timing. I think it's all about timing. You know, you've got the best idea, you know, it won't happen if the timing's not the right time to do things, you know?
Yeah.
Every business was fucked. You know, like people wanted to grow, figure out how to grow like fast, even during the pandemic, you know?
Yeah.
So we started like getting a few requests to like try out like different growth marketing experiments, but everyone wanted like appointment setting straight away.
Sorry, just to clarify, was this you as part of the previous business that you became partner on, or did you start your own thing? No.
So this is like still like the
Still
business I was
working
on.
with them.
I was
Right.
still working with them as a partner.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, just building it up slowly, you know, getting clients in, you know, for all of us, you know. And then what happened was that like, because they were focusing on one part of the company, I was focusing on the other part of the company. What happened was that my part of the company started growing massively by itself because timing, pandemic, people were like, we need leads, you know. So I started getting requests from like tons of other people going like, how do we book meetings online? You know, how do we do this? Everywhere. Like I started sending out emails and stuff like that, but a lot of like, you know, word to mouth.
Yeah.
They helped out a lot from like their clients that brought in, but I got my own clients starting to come in as well. And then that part of the business scaled really, really big, like massively on that side. And then it grew like a lot, that so much that we kind of like not fell apart, but like, you know, they didn't know what I was doing and they didn't have any oversight over what I was doing. And I wanted to get them involved a bit more in what I was doing as well. But it just naturally grew apart, you know? And they also wanted to take the thing in house as well. So then I just became like just starting with an agency. Like, you know, with like, I was like 15 clients at that time. Sure. And all for myself. I was drowning. I was in Dubai at that time.
Yeah.
Mate, it was horrible. And then I remember like, I was like, I need a CEO. I need head of ops, you know? Interviewed tons of people. You know, and at this point I realized that like, if you need someone in your life at that point, find one of your closest friends, like that vibes with you and like, you know, that you know will like take a bullet for you, like, you know, to try out with you. And if you're able to sell the dream, obviously, you know.
Yeah.
And at that point, what I did was I literally picked up the phone and I called one of my really good friends, Jamie. And Jamie's really like, he's an awesome guy. Like, he's still my CEO at the moment. We run the two agencies together. And it's really funny because when we hire people, you know, you look at like degrees, you know, MBAs or wherever it is, you know, like where they came from and stuff like that, you know. But the massive thing for me when I hire people is transferable skills. I don't care what you do, where you're from, but in your job, what are the biggest transferable skills that can help you like be in this position today and help you elevate to that position where you want to be in, you know? Because this is where I came from. Yeah. All my transferable skills for like DJing, events management, all that kind of stuff was always networking and getting there. So I'm like, the person I have to hire has to be the same mindset, you know? And then basically Jamie, like at that time, he had a marketing company as well, but he was like, he still does it today sometimes. He's like a nightclub promoter, but like for like the really big clubs, you know, like, you know, Tramp and all these other posh places and stuff, you know? And this guy has to handle like, you know, just like 5-6 other promoters, you know, like sending him fucking WhatsApp messages all day, you know, like the most horrible thing to deal with, you know. And I'm there going like, he's perfect. Yeah. Like he can be organized. He has to handle like dumb requests all the time. He keeps his cool. Perfect guy. Yeah. You know. So I called him up and I'm like, yo, this is that, and he was just like, mate, don't worry about it. I'll help you out. Like I'll help you out. Like just give me what you can give me. I'll just try and figure out, see how it goes. You know. And there was a lot of ups and downs, and we finally got there today. And like now we've got the appointment setting agency, and now the other part, which has gone really well, is the PR agency as well.
So is he full time now?
He's full time, yeah.
And you're effectively co-founders then, or?
CEO and like CEO, co-owners, Like he's like, or he manages all the day to day. So we got like 10 clients on the like appointment setting side. We calmed that down a lot. Very hard to scale as a business, by the way. And then the PR, we've got a lot of clients for that, like 20 plus clients for that. And he manages like both agencies really well, like 25 employees. Like we're managing left and right, and there's a lot of people.
So 25 full-time employees.
So full-time, yeah. There's a lot of people. Yeah.
Fucking hell. Do you think? Obviously, your experience in like startups and particularly startups, but like investment banking, or all the shit that maybe seemed irrelevant at the time, obviously added up to the ability to do that really well. I wouldn't, because that's pretty quick to scale to like 25 employees.
Yeah, I would say that like in some instances yes, but like no at the same time. I would say that like in part because I was doing things randomly and didn't really have a plan. Like it helped me cope with a lot of like hurdles when growing it. So we need to get this, we need to get that, we need to speak to these people and all that kind of stuff. But what really got me like going is that like because I'm a guy who's got like I'm very energetic and like I like doing things really fast and all that kind of stuff. I'm able to like figure out also solutions on the go as well. So there's two sides of it, like just being like a Swiss knife really, I would say, but at the same time not really because I didn't know what I was doing. I was just figuring it out still on the spot. Yeah. But yeah, no, it worked out really well, and like timing as well. We started doing PR for like NFT companies, and well, we worked like a pretty big one at the very beginning, and that went really well, and then everything just came in after that, again, and that was like again through just who you knew and just friends,
Yeah.
The guy was like he was a CTO at Artifact Studios, Samuel Cardillo, and he just talked to me about what NFTs were, and we did. Work together and stuff like that, and like it was just insane because when we realized what it was and where it could bring people, and like at that time it was the bull run, we did that, and then everything just came in after that, so like it was really good, today like we're in a very fortunate position. Again, keep saying it 3-4 times, but timing again.
Yeah. Is that fully remote then?
Everything's fully remote.
Yeah.
I've met like probably like 2 clients in my life.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I've never met any of the clients. Like,
how about employees? You ever met any of them?
No. One employee, I think.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
Yeah, the world has changed, hasn't it?
Yeah.
And that's been going 2 years pretty much since the start of COVID.
2 years, yeah.
And where do you want to take that now then? Because like, obviously you're doing a lot of music still. Like, when did that come back in? Obviously COVID fucked everything.
Yeah, the music, not really.
Now you've got, obviously, a legitimate business going. That's fucking scaling.
Yeah.
Like, do you still have plans for music?
No, like
the music, always just chopped in and out of your life? No,
the music's still going. I'm not focusing it on as like that much in terms of like, like I'm gonna put everything inside one basket and just go crazy with it. I still do it. I still make music. I still play at events. I'm actually doing a duo with my mate Stone Van Broken, and like we're playing at Ultra Music Festival in Croatia in July. On the beach, so it's still there, but like because this company is scaling, I told literally everyone, like my business partners, like music wise, I'm like, this is it, this is like what we're really good at. And people are really enjoying the work that we're doing. We've got a great team, we've got a really unique USP as well. I'll get to that point, like something that we just invented, and it's just not really invented, but like some crazy stuff that we're doing at the moment that people love. We're actually working with the former chief security officer at SpaceX on this. Like, he's one of our clients.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, it's
this
random.
Is a very varied episode.
Yeah, random, but like you can see I've got ADHD, but like focus stuff. But yeah, the music's still there. But like the concentration is on the company at the moment. If I get gigs, do you want to play? Do you want to play there? Do you want to do this event with us? I'll do it.
Yeah.
But I'll be honest with them. Like, this is how much time I can put to this.
More of an enjoyment pursuit at this point then.
Yeah.
Since the company started growing.
Yeah. But like,
where do you see it in like 5 years then, this sort of thing? Because like, I'm always interested. I mean, there's so many new kind of like agency, like B2B stuff that's cropping up because of like, NFTs is one, like just the changing fucking landscape and everything. Like how scalable do you think it is? You said there's 3 agencies.
2 agents. So no, well, the first one was Growth Division, which I left.
Yeah.
And we got the appointment setting company and the PR agency. But in terms of scalability, the PR agency is going to go for me like really far. We found something, and this is what I tell loads of people. The most fun part about like being an entrepreneur, which I tell most people, is that like when you figure out a solution to a problem, and you take that solution that you found and you merge it with another solution that you found. Because what you see is that you always see recurring problems, right? And you take these 2 solutions together and you put them together, it becomes a blue ocean. Like, you know, the craziest thing is that like a lot of people, or like this is the thing, right? For me, scalability comes from the fact that like if you are competing in the red ocean, you got no chance. Because when competing in the red ocean, like the problem is that like you're competing on maybe on price point most of the time.
Yeah, it's a race to the bottom.
Exactly. Or like you get first mover advantage and you're like you're there, you know. But most of the time, you can try late mover advantage, but you're competing in the red ocean. Marketing agencies, appointment setting agencies, they're all the same. You know?
So many fucking marketing agencies these days.
So many.
SMMA.
So many. But
most common thing. Everyone watching this has a fucking SMMA.
Really? Yeah,
well,
a lot
of them. It's like the most, well, not all of them, but it's like the buzzword, I guess, for like young entrepreneurs. It's like a social media marketing agency.
Yeah, it is.
But yeah, you're right. Most of them are the same, and most of them are shit.
Exactly. And,
not all of them, but most.
If they are good, like they're good. But does that mean they scale? Like, you know, yeah, they do to like maybe 7 figures, like maybe 8 figures sometimes because they got that branding and stuff like that, you know.
Yeah.
But most of them don't get there. Most of them get to that sweet spot where everyone's really happy with it, you know, and all that kind of stuff, you know. The end of the game is that like how much value you're providing, and are you providing value from a red ocean and blue ocean's perspective? Because the thing with blue ocean is you've got not say you got no competitors. I mean, literally sometimes it is, you know. But also you're creating something completely new that no one's thought about, you know. And the NFT side of the agency that we're doing at the moment, it is one thing. Like, you know, and we're like the thing with PR and also realize in the world is that like a lot of traditional companies out there, like, you know, especially in like PR, they're not very good. They're not great in general. But once you are good at something, just the slightest bit in industry is kind of broken down, you're amazing, you know. So we do get people into Forbes. We got like a client the other day, Cointelegraph contributor account, you know. Like, cause like, you know, we know people, and we know, you know, we're very fortunate to have a really good team.
You can probably help me with that actually, because I want to go down the PR route. Well, just change the subject slightly, but because I want to get my fucking personal Instagram verified, which is one thing, which I've been trying to. I paid some guy like $5,000 like 2 years ago, and it was a complete scam. Never saw the money. But then also with the new brand, because I feel like PR is quite an interesting way to position a brand as like the next big thing, even though, you know, like there could be brands that are doing bigger numbers. But if you're in the right publications, and this is what some of my investors have told me, because they're fucking smarter than me, and I never even thought about PR, like ever. I always just thought Facebook ads, Google ads, TikTok ads.
Oh yeah. It's
PR seems like another flavor of marketing.
It is. It's people's perception of you. It's for me, like getting into Forbes today, it's really cringe saying this, but it's actually true. It's like getting a degree from Oxford. Like, hey, mum, I made it, you know. At the end of the day, it's a piece of paper, you know. Like, who cares? But it's just the branding, you know. Like, oh, you know, Forbes under 30, that guy, you know. Like, and it helps. It helps you to get into doors, you know. And it's just the way the world is today. Well, why I tell people is that today, like, people consume content faster than ever. I tell people, do people really read Forbes? You know, I ask sometimes like clients and stuff like, do you actually sit down and just open up the magazine and read it? Like, when you have the time to do that, tell me. You know, and if you do, honestly, between you and me, do you skim through it? Like, skim through it, you know. But why do you want to get it? I want to get it because I want to show to people that my stuff is great enough to get into
credibility, innit?
Credibility, and it's great because editors, they're very credible and they do their jobs, you know. And some people do read these things, you know, like publications and stuff like that. I do, you know, but the majority of people, like we live such a fast life today that a lot of people do it on their phones, maybe on the way to work. But I know a lot of people, like from you know, my age group of like, you know, late 20s and stuff like that, they don't have time. You know, they got other stuff to do, you know. But it's just the fact they got into it.
Too busy scrolling TikTok.
Literally. But the thing with PR is, and this is what I realized about PR, right? And this is where like the whole entire thing came into place, right? So we do something which is like very much different. So the NFT stuff and the Web3 stuff, the crypto stuff, we're doing really good in that, and we got a lot of like really big clients in that space, like Yellow Heart NFT, which is like the world's largest.
So NFT projects come to you to do their PR.
But like to get the projects out, to talk to them into like tier 1 media press, you know, we've done that. We got like Diner, there's like luxury dining NFT into like Forbes US, like probably like 2 weeks ago. But that's great. I love getting people featured. You know, it makes them happy. It gets a company out. Investors love it. You know. But I always thought about what is really PR at the end of the day, you know? And the other side of PR that no one really talks about is market intelligence. And this is what people tell me, like, what do you mean by market intelligence, Kim? You know? And I realized something really crazy. I realized that, like, PR, you can leverage a lot of it to speak to the right people. And these people tell them what they think, their quotes, you know, their ideas and stuff like that. And if you're able to create roundtables, you know, and, you know, get this information across into the press and then use that as market intelligence and data, you know, for other people to read it, it becomes really strong, you know. And this is what we do, like, as part of the company. I don't like revealing it too much because, like, you know, it's very secretive still.
Yeah.
And we work with, like, the former CSO of SpaceX on this, you know.
I was watching a SpaceX documentary last night.
Really?
That Elon Musk one. There's a new one on Netflix.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's fucking chaos, to be fair. It's good shit.
But let's say that we've organized him a bunch of roundtables of, like, really prominent, like, people he wants to speak to for his, like, own startup at the moment. And let's say that, like, yeah, he got the information that he needed, and that with that information we then create content for him into the press. So yeah, he's gonna get, like, articles into, like, Business Insider and Yahoo Finance talking about these interviews that you had and conversations that you had with the people that we introduced him to, you know. So it's a very different way of doing it, you know. It's leveraging it in a smart way where, like, it's good content people want to read, and at the same time, you know, our clients are able to gather really good market intelligence from it as well.
Yeah, sick.
Yeah.
Fucking hell. This whole NFT side of things is something I'm not that clued up on, to be honest. This whole market, I've just, like, focused on ecom the past few years, and I think there's definitely scope to, like, I mean, do you see, like, a lot of, like, crypto Web3 projects that are just massively inflated valuations? It's just, like, borderline rug pulls. Because I mean, that's my opinion on a lot of that, the Web3 stuff, NFTs now, but I'm not an expert.
I mean, the thing is, at the end of the day,
they might actually have, like, utility. It's kind of debatable, right?
Oh yeah, 100%. And who can actually, like, you know, like, execute upon it?
Yeah.
You know? But I mean, at the end of the day, you know, like, we select the projects that we work on, you know, that we really believe in, that can make a difference based on the founder. Again, you know, it's all my analytics about working in a rating agency for startups previously. I see projects, I see things that are going to happen, but yeah, it's a very big bubble at the moment. I think right now there's actually a bear market coming into the NFT industry right now. The projects are not selling out anymore, and people are realizing it, you know, like, you know, more and more. But yeah, 100%. You know, as you mentioned before, utility. You know, if they have the right team to execute upon it, if they have the right funds.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate, you know, but this is, you know, what happens to innovation all the time. You know, the curve of adoption. You know, you always have the crazy curve, then it goes down because there's a lot of, like, you know, scams and things that are happening, things that don't work, and you know, people getting hyped about stuff, and then you have the correction. And once the correction happens, and this is what I tell most people, a lot of people are doing a new innovation at that point on user experience and adoption through education. It's a complete different ballpark, you know.
Yeah.
And that's what we saw Web 2, and obviously Web 3 is coming now.
Yeah, fucking hell.
Yeah.
Do you think you'd ever go back to, because obviously, like, you're kind of like a traditional upbringing and then kind of push down a traditional path, like a lot of people are, like I was as well myself. But do you think you could ever or would ever, like, go back to the Matrix now you've, like, fucking escaped? That's, like, a more, like, philosophical question, because your route to entrepreneurship is pretty unique, I think, but the thing that's similar is ultimately, like, people have to make that leap and fucking start something, right? And you obviously did that mainly when COVID happened.
Yeah.
That was, like, the opportunity.
Yeah.
And now it's going really well.
Yeah.
Because I just find it interesting, because a few people have been on the pod started stuff during COVID because it was like you say, a big black swan event. But it's like, yeah, I don't know. I feel like a lot of people watching this or not watching this would love to do, like, their own thing. And there's never been a better time than now. Like, it's the whole creator economy, like, online, blah, 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 just presents so many opportunities. Like, all the stuff you've said, like, I don't even know about half this shit, but there's probably, like, a fucking £1 trillion market that I've never heard of. But people are just, I don't know, I think it's hard for people to get out of, like, the routine or the upbringing they've had, unless there's, like, they're given a reason, which for you was, like, COVID, right? But
yeah,
I don't know. I don't know what the question is, but yeah, I just think it's interesting.
This is what I'm saying. It's like, for me, there was always, like, I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur, and I didn't think you know, this way, things will happen this way in general. My advice to most people on this thing is just that, like, just be happy what you're doing in life, you know? Like, I was happy having 9 to 5. Really happy. I was doing my thing, you know? So be happy what you're doing. If you're an entrepreneur, not an entrepreneur, right? But the most important thing is 2 things. You need to adapt to really fast to like situations that you're not comfortable with, and then learn from that a lot, and then take things from that to think about it deeply, you know, why that happened and how, you know, you could maybe, you know, collide different things together of like solutions you found to different problems together. It's a lot of thinking, you know, but I always sit down and think sometimes like, oh, I got over that situation. How did that happen? You know, write it down, like, oh, you know. So a lot of thinking about how you overcome hurdles. That's what I would say. And the second thing is, because this is what happens, like, because sometimes, like, if you get my situation where you get in a Black Swan event and you have to overcome it, at least you can adapt to that really fast, because you have adapted to some of these circumstances in your life, you know. That's one thing, you know. So always be adapting to, like, you know, multiple hurdles, and because like things can come left and right. And then the second thing I would say, which is really important, is making sure you're always open to do a lot of things. Never say no to anything, even if you don't know what it means, because the other person know what it means, and dip your toes in it for like a bit, just to see how you like it. And even if it's entrepreneurial, non-entrepreneurial, that thing could be insane for you, you know?
Yeah, just like opportunities, isn't it? Because like, one of the most common questions I get off the back of this pod all the time, like DMs, it's like some young guy, generally, because 99% male audience, like messaging me saying, oh, I'm interested in entrepreneurship, but I don't know how to meet like-minded people. And I always just tell them, yeah, cool, like do what I did, get on a fucking economy flight to Singapore to an event, which I saw on Facebook group, and then like little things like that become a butterfly effect. Yeah. Like if I didn't go to that event, I don't know if I'd be sat here, because I wouldn't have met certain people that then inspired me to do certain things, and, you know, X, Y, Z. But that's how the world works. Like, you can fucking change your circumstances if you change what you do, right? And like take up different opportunities. Yeah. And it doesn't always require money, because money's often the excuse. Like, oh, I don't have a lot of money, I can't do this. Yeah, but you do have time, and you do have an internet connection. Like, everyone watching this at least does. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And like, even you just saying you messaged those dons, like 50 dons in Bali to get a fucking laptop. Yeah. It's kind of like the same principle. Like, I tweeted something similar about this the other day. Like, if you don't shoot your shot in whatever capacity, like, you'll never know. Never. Whether that's like, I don't know, fucking girl that you want to speak to and you're being a little bitch. Yeah. Or like, I don't know, some investor or someone you follow, because yeah, it's mad. It's just, I get like fucking like existential crisisism when I think about it, as I've no word, but like when I think about this sort of shit, it's like the butterfly effect of certain things. If you do or don't do them, yeah, and if you don't do them, you'll never know. Exactly. Do you know what I mean? So it's literally that. Like, I think out of everyone from like when I was young at school and just in general my family and stuff like that, like I've always been the guy who's just like, I'm gonna try it, you know. I failed a lot of times, you know. I've just been very lucky that timing was right when this happened. Yeah. And I was very lucky that, again, I keep saying it because like I didn't even know how messed up the PR whole industry was, like in terms of like, you know, people not like getting what they needed and stuff like that. And from my experience about market intelligence, from working at the specific startups I worked at, I realized that like I created something completely different, which unfortunately you can't say too much on the podcast about, because like, you know, we're doing really good work in it, but like, yeah, we use those things and just adapt to it and just like scale through that. And I think my business, when you say, do you have a business plan in the next 5 years? I'm like, yeah, kind of, but at the same time, not really, because it's so new out there, you know, it changes so much. But there's not one point where I was like, I'm going to stop doing this, you know. I've always continued doing it, you know. I think obviously there's a point where like, you know, if you don't get money from it, like you're eating pot noodles and stuff, like that, you should probably change. Do you think you're motivated by money? Because you've done like some fucking not weird shit, but like very unique stuff, like obviously fucking DJing, traveling loads, hustling on shit that wasn't necessarily paying you at the time, but like, do you think that is a motivator now, or is it more about enjoying what you do and like the freedom aspect you kind of touched on? Freedom, definitely. Freedom is like in terms of like, I can go wherever I want now, travel wherever I want, speak to whoever I want, work with whoever I want. That's definitely the main motivation. And
the thing with money, you know as well, it's like you do what you love the most, and you enjoy what you're doing, and it'll always be there because you're good at it,
Yeah.
Like money shouldn't be your main motivation, because the problem is at the end of the day you'll burn out. Like in most businesses you'll burn out. I mean, everyone would probably burn out. Like when you're in growth stage you'll burn out. Like that everyone knows that, And if you burn out and you burnt out really badly, you want to stop at that stage, you were doing it for the money, and that's where people kind of abandon at that point and try and like lay off and stuff like that, but
yeah, that's why I often, like, it's definitely not the case for everyone, but I've said it before, that like I think that the most interesting or like long-term successful entrepreneurs tend to, in my opinion, come from like an initial creative interest. And like even for you, it was like music. It was like the one thing that you were into, and then you hustled on that and fucking leads you down the road. Whereas like you can tell like fake entrepreneurs or whatever you want to call it, where they're just like, they see their mate doing well and they're like, oh, how can I do that?
Yeah.
Even though they had no interest in it in the first place.
Yeah.
They just assume that the potential outcome of like the financial outcome could be great. So
yeah,
then they're like, oh, jump on the bandwagon. But like you say, the second it gets difficult, they won't give a fuck because they're not actually in it for the right reasons. They're not actually passionate about it. And if you would do it for free anyway, basically, then you should probably do it, and actually you'll make money from it.
Exactly.
Eventually.
Yeah. But that's the thing. Like sometimes it's unfortunate. Sometimes it gets too late. At that point when you're burning out. So you're right. Like but. Like, I mean, it's hard also to enjoy most things, to be honest. Like, do people really enjoy e-com? Do people really enjoy like doing marketing for other people?
I always say this as well. Like, I think you have to net enjoy something. Like, if I don't know, say 90% of it's just a bit of a grind. And by the way, like most of any businesses, as you know, anyone that's on the pod knows, but a lot of people that aren't in the game just assume that the second you work for yourself, freedom. No, it's like fucking less freedom, because it's like 24/7.
24/7.
That's why you have to enjoy it. But I always think if 90% of it's shit, say, but the 10% that's amazing, i.e. like when stuff goes well, you release a product, whatever, is worth it, then it's like net worth it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
It is.
You still do it.
Yeah.
Whereas, I'm not sure a lot of people could say that truthfully about what they currently do.
Yeah.
And then I also saw, going down a tangent, because I always try and make this philosophical and like the later bits, but I saw a tweet the other day and it went like mad viral, and it said, it's like some random account and it got like 1 million likes. It was like, are you happy or are you just distracted from sadness? And I was like, fuck, that's like, I feel like that's so applicable to like this generation.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, like maybe I feel like I've certainly like kind of realised the stuff that actually makes me happy deep down as I've got a bit older, but you have to try shit and stuff. But I don't know, like, what am I trying to say? I just think like people that work jobs that they fucking hate, and then their outlet is going to get paralytic at the weekend in the pub, and they do that every week for 20 years. Like, if that's what makes you happy, that's cool. But I don't know, are a lot of those people happy, or are they just waiting for an outlet to get away from the shit that they don't like doing because they never had the balls to pursue something they actually cared about?
It's hard.
I think about that shit.
No, it does. I think about that when I speak to most people as well, that like, sometimes depressed and stuff like that. And it's really hard because I realize sometimes is that like I've got such a different personality to some people that they don't understand me, I don't understand them as well. And that is a big barrier to encouraging people and motivating people to do what I'm doing, what you're doing, stuff like that, and entrepreneurs in general, because I feel that like when I speak to like people like you've interviewed in the pod, like a lot of my friends, we all have the similar lifestyle mindset. And it was crazy when I moved to Dubai. I met all these guys like one by one. I'm like, wow, like you're like this, we're the same. But I'm a bit
on
the same page. But you guys do things differently. But we're doing the same thing, and like it's crazy because now like some of those guys are my clients, I'm their clients. It's crazy, like, we're all a team, and then when people from outside my circle like trying to understand what I'm doing and stuff like that, I just don't have time. I'm just like I do business, like and then I realized there's two separate worlds out of that, and to get someone from that separate world into my world to explain it, his ideas like, it's just another agency guy, it just collides, and if I had the time to really, show him like what I did and tell him that like, are you really happy where you are? Are you happy where you are? Because you don't seem really happy. Look at your calendar, the way you work and stuff like that. I'm like, I'm really happy, But then at the end of the day, that's what I mean. Like happiness is two different things. But I don't know what happiness means to specific people. Like,
yeah.
But happiness for us, I think, is the same thing for all of us.
I think the one thing I realised, again, I've spoken about it on the pod before, but like, because I went through like a really shit year last year and everything, and I kind of, on reflection, like worked out what at least gives me fulfillment. And I feel like it has to be similar for a lot of people to some extent. I think ultimately, like, fulfillment for most people, and certainly for me, comes from progression.
Yeah.
And like a sense of purpose working on something. Because, yeah, like, I've had times in my life, and I've been very open about it, where I've been incredibly like depressed and just in a bad mental space. And then looking back, it's always been when I've had less of a clear mission, or like, I don't know, there was a lull between projects or whatever it is. But I just think get busy doing something that you can progress, whether that's the fucking gym, running, like simple things, building a business, whatever it is, getting better at your job. Do you know what I mean? I think, to me, that's what like fulfillment is. And then happiness, probably, I don't know if they're the same thing, but like happiness is part of that.
Yeah.
And like, do you know what I mean? I don't know.
No, but do you know what's crazy? You know, like, when, I mean, I know maybe this is just me, but like, I just realized that every time that's happened to me, it was after a breakup.
Every time,
yeah,
you start something new, or what?
Every time that I had that like that point of my life where I was just like, I need to focus on something, be happy, progression, be happy where I am. Because the problem is that like, it's the comfort zone, right? The comfort zone is so toxic, because comfort zone for me, I mean, maybe not for me, but like most people, is that, you know, the 9 to 5, the girlfriend and stuff like that, you know, when that bubble pops, COVID, breakup, you know, that is where you realize the people that start looking at specific things in terms of like how they progress in multiple things. Because you said something really like interesting there, where like some people like progress in like, you know, maybe business or other parts in life, like going to the gym and stuff like that. Like my first like kind of like big breakup,
we're talking about breakups again, I'm gonna get in trouble.
Yeah, but this was really random.
It's interesting.
This was really random. But like I joined the university rugby team
after a breakup.
Stupidest decision ever. Yeah, because I was just like, I need to do something.
You don't strike me as a rugby player.
Literally, exactly. Literally, you know, like I was just like, I like final year at uni.
Yeah.
Let's just do this. Like, fuck it. Like, what's gonna happen? What's the worst that can happen? You know, I'm gonna get stomped up by a bunch of big guys, but at least I can be accepted by like people that I've never really interact with.
Yeah.
A bunch of lads, you know, like, you know, and you know, play a game which I'm not like the caliber for at all. But the sense of progression in my head was just like, I can do this if I want to do anything in life. You know, this could be like incredibly in terms of like physically, mentally, progression. Not building a business, just myself.
Yeah, I know completely what you mean, because like I went through a breakup and I fucking spoke about it too much on the pod and whatever. I'm definitely over it now. But I think, yeah, it's like that change from comfort to, oh shit, a big change in my life. And then I had that fucking business issue and I was like, fuck. Almost like a blank slate, but with the experience that I had from the years prior, then I was like, fuck it, well, we better go all in on progressing. And like, I've probably got in some of the best shape of my life in recent months. I've been running a shitload, I've been reading David Goggins and shit, and then obviously like building a business and stuff. And yeah, then like momentum becomes addicting. The fucking dog's ruining this. Like, yeah, it's so true, because I was in like a really dark place and I was like, fuck, like I've put on weight, and like looking back, I was like fat for me. I wasn't like fat, but like chubby.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, like fucking wasn't working on anything I was excited by, wasn't doing the podcast. And then I started the podcast and I started the new business and I started getting in shape again. And then it becomes momentum. And then that process of like self-betterment and just like fucking chasing new shit becomes addicting, because yeah, like even launching this brand, it's like, yeah, now it's launched, now it's real, and it's quite cool. I mean, I've done it a few times. I've done it a few times before, building brands and shit. But it's always cool when you can, do it again. It's like, fuck, like there's a real like alchemy in like building shit. Because I think I was writing this down on my iPad the other day, because I've got into the habit of like trying to write down like affirmations and shit. And it kind of helps.
It does.
But it does.
It does.
And yeah, I wrote something. It was like the alchemy of like combining my skill set, my self-belief and time to build something. And I think that's like ultimately, in my mind, what life is about.
But that's basically the thing, right? Like,
I don't know where the fuck I'm going with this.
But that's the thing, right? Like, this is crazy, because it's become like kind of like our new reality now. Like, our comfort zone is doing this. Like right now, if like I stopped doing what I was doing and I you know, like go back to 9 to 5 and everything, that like it'd be out my comfort zone, because this is my comfort zone, you know. But the comfort zone that we're in right now, I realize it, like it's not really a comfort zone, because it just changes every day, you know. So it goes to the point where people ask me, do you like what do you like the best about your job? I'm like, literally, obviously the entrepreneurial part, like creating new ideas and like, you know, launching stuff, that's the best part, you know. But the other best part is like, you know, the sense of fulfillment when you solved a problem. You know, but the craziest problems that people will in the 9 to 5 would never face, you know, like I you know, things that like, you know, one of your best employees leaving, how the hell do you replace that guy? The business going operationally just messed up just based on that, you know.
Entrepreneurship is just problem solving and like shit storms, isn't it? But yeah, like even like you said before, like you were happy doing a 9 to 5 and shit, and obviously not everyone is an entrepreneur. Certainly the audience for this podcast mainly is, but like, yeah, you just, I think, yeah, the one thing I've realized about life is just find something that you fucking not even necessarily enjoy, but like get fulfillment from doing and getting better at. And I think that's just like key. And I've never really related, and I've never really understood people that just aren't driven to do anything almost. And yeah, I always end up talking about this sort of shit on the pod because it's like, it's fucking philosophical and shit, but it's just like the sort of stuff I ponder. But I mean, obviously everyone's different and everyone's driven by different things, but coming back to that tweet, which just like struck a chord with me, and obviously a lot of people, because it went fucking viral. But it's like, yeah, I don't know. I think if a lot of people actually look to themselves, like deep into themselves and try to answer that question, I'm not sure many people would say they're actually happy.
It's hard because like
or I'm just a really fucking overthinking cunt that ponders life too much and everyone's actually really happy.
Everyone's happy in their own way. That's why I don't judge people when they say that what they do and like where they are. I'm like, if you're happy, you're happy, you know, like, this is great. I mean, obviously, you know, we're in different situations and stuff like that, but I just would say is that like at the end of the day, I don't, like, a lot of people say do something that you love. Like, do I love like appointment setting, PR? Like, you know, is this like, oh my god, like, no, I didn't, like, it wasn't my thing, you know. But there was parts of that I loved. Like the fulfillment of like, you know, speaking to important people, the fulfillment of being someone finally. You know, I wasn't saying that I wasn't anyone before that, but like finally, like, you know, like I built something that I'm really proud of. That's a fulfillment, you know. So I just tell people that, like, cheesy as hell, people always say this, don't think about the end goal, think about the process.
It's actually fucking true.
Enjoy the process, enjoy that pain, enjoy the fact that like you will be secluded from your friends for a lot, that like you will do things that you won't enjoy, but enjoy that. And if you can't enjoy that, you know, what you're doing right now, try something else until you figure it out, you know. But again, so sense of fulfillment, you're right, is progression. And no matter what you do, the gym and stuff like that, you know, and it will always happen in your life. And this is what I tell people. A lot of people they ask me this question as well. They ask me like, like, I tell people that triggers happen in your life, which enables you to go in different paths. And people always ask me, what's my trigger? My trigger for me, really simple. When people tell me I can't do it. No, that's because I've been always in that situation since I've been a kid. Like, Kimmy can't do it. Kimmy can't do it. I'm like, yeah, I can do it. You know, and I've always overcome it to do it. You know, getting into banking and to do my master's stuff. I did it. You know, overcame it. People, you can't get into this uni. Like, I can. You know, and then like, you know, and then that's the thing. And then the other thing, but I would say, is that like, yeah, just really enjoy also the part about, in terms of the triggers. Like, the second trigger I would say is that like, what enables you to think differently, you know, because people have different triggers. So my first trigger, as I mentioned before, was like people tell me I can't do stuff. The other trigger that people tell me was like black swan events, you know, like you have to adapt to it. Breakups is a trigger, really strong trigger. Because of your comfort bubble. Losing a job is a trigger, you know. These are all different triggers you need to identify in your life, how they shaped you, you know. And a lot of people don't understand triggers really well, like.
Yeah, I think one like mindset thing that I've got better at, when coming from like a really bad place I was in like a few months ago, is like trying to view triggers like that or like life events as like shit happening for you rather than to you. And I know it's like very Tony Robbins-esque and stuff, but it's very useful. Yeah, it is. Because and obviously it's not applicable to everything. Like if you fucking ran in front of a car and got hit and broke your leg and it could have been avoided, it's probably not the same. But like, I think people deep down know when like, your gut usually knows whether it's a relationship or like, you know, a business went bad like mine did, and then you start something new. Like you usually know if something's right for you. Like there's some weird fact about like gut instinct having like 3 million more neurons or something than like us thinking about something.
Yeah.
Because it's a weird one, but yeah, everything that's happened in my life, like when I thought that was sad or whatever, like my gut instinct probably knew it was the right thing to happen. I like break up.
Yeah.
Choosing a certain new venture to work on, like, you know, deep down. And yeah, I think you just got to fucking trust yourself.
But you need to also be like self-aware. Like a lot of people are not, hard. They're not like self-aware of things. I realize that like they just do it on the go. I mean, a lot of my friends are self-aware because like, I mean, fortunate to like live in like a place where like there's a lot of like people doing important stuff. Mm-hmm. But in general, you know, like I just see a lot of people just not understanding what they're good at, not understand that, just like, you know, just not being truthful for themselves. Yeah. And then when trigger events happen, they didn't really, you know, say it's a trigger event. They go, oh, that happens, and I just did this instead.
Yeah. It's interesting that.
Yeah.
I feel like I've definitely become very self-aware.
Yeah.
But it happens over time. It happens through like good and bad shit happening, and then time and age and reflection. And yeah, I don't know.
I really think like that everyone should just have like, when really like bad stuff happen to you, like really sit down and think about who you deeply are as a person. Like what, like being truthful for yourself always at what you're very good at and you know you're good at, how you can use that to then do multiple things. If it's not a venture, then like maybe a new job or like new activity.
Yeah.
But that deep self-awareness, I think you should have it on a constant basis. Like, you know, like self-reflection every, like, I would say like, you know, every quarter, or like, you know, when you have the time to be by yourself. And like, this is what I usually tell people. Like, I'm the type of guy, I love being around people, but I never took like being lonely for granted. Like I always took being lonely, like, well, what do I say about that? I've always seen people that have like been alone as like something like I would hate to be in that position, because I always like to be around people.
Yeah, I'm the same, to be fair.
And what I was like, now that I'm alone for once in my life with the whole COVID thing situation happening, and I was just like, let's just sit down and just kind of process what's happening right now. That was the first time I self-reflected on myself. And I realized that like, I was like, dude, is this what I want? Where do I want to be? And I wrote things down, watched tons of YouTube videos, like tons of TEDx talks, wrote those things down, and then keep writing things down. And I did that for like so long in the pandemic, and every time I did that, you know, came up with new ideas all the time. I'm like, that's who you are really.
Yeah.
You know? And that helped out a lot. And a lot of people don't have the time to stop and to self-reflect. And like,
yeah, you definitely need to like sit with your thoughts now and then.
Yeah.
Because yeah, I'm the same. Like I naturally thrive off being like, I like having conversations and shit, which is why I do the podcast. It's like therapy for me. And then yeah, like when I was younger, I used to hate being like by myself. I don't know, I like, felt lonely because I probably couldn't deal with my own thoughts. But then I've got better at that. And like, yeah, you are right. You need to fucking listen to yourself when you're alone and when you don't have, you know, third party inputs, and that's when you come up with the best ideas and figure out, you know, what you want to do.
Yeah.
Because yeah, and that's the thing with like relationships and shit like this. If you're in a relationship with like the wrong person, which obviously we both were, hence why exes, whatever, and a lot of people have been, you never have the time to fucking think for yourself, especially if you like live with them or whatever. But it's the same with like friend groups.
Yeah.
Like, fucking hell, I'm going on a very long tangent, but like, I've come to realize that my most valuable asset in life is the people I know. And like, again, it's stuff I get questions about all the fucking time on DMs. How do you have such a good circle, blah, 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 all your mates are entrepreneurs. And yeah, like 95% of them are, apart from like my brother and mates from home, which isn't that many anymore. And it's like, fuck, I mean, it comes from like an initial trigger, which for me was going to an event and meeting two of them, and then I met their friends. And you know, put yourself out there. Like, if you fucking sit with no social media profile and, you know, sit in your fucking flat by yourself complaining that you don't know anyone, then you're not going to meet people.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's just, yeah. And I've realised how fortunate I am to know the people I do at the age I do, I guess. And like, we have a lot of like mutual friends and shit, and yeah, that they're all on the same page, I guess, even in different ventures and stuff. But
yeah,
I don't know where I'm going with that, but yeah, I guess that's also a super important thing. If you're around the wrong people, you never get the time to figure out that maybe that's not you, or you want to do something else because you're influenced by other people's.
Yeah, no, literally, life is too fast. I've realized life is way too fast these days.
Yeah.
So much going on. Like after this podcast, I need to go to dinner, then to an event. I don't have time to breathe, you know? And then and most people have this, because life is going too fast, people consume things, TikTok, all that kind of stuff, and people don't stop. Just stop for one day, one weekend, sit down, go to the park, open up that pad, watch a bunch of YouTube self-reflective videos on TEDx. It does help. It's kind of cheesy, but it does help because they do talk a lot of relevance.
Yeah.
Speak to as many people as you can from different circles because they have different thinking. Different thinking is great. If your entourage is full entrepreneurs is great, full of corporates is great. But if your entourage is a lot of different people from different aspects of life, they come in with different ideas. And because they come in with different ideas, you're able to then self-reflecting yourself and look at the different opportunities that are out there. And if you're a creative person, you can either mix things together, speak to different people. But it all goes down to the root, and this is crazy the way I see it, is trigger, self-reflection, and then action. You know?
That's so interesting. Yeah, I've never actually really heard anyone talk about the trigger, but it's so true. That's a really good way of putting it.
Literally, if you ask them what's your trigger, what do you mean? I'm like,
like how life happens. It is a set of triggers, and like you just said, trigger, thoughts, action.
Literally.
I like that.
And I just realized from that point, where I am right now compared to all my friends, back at school and at uni, they've gone to crazy places and doing crazy stuff, but I remember when I was in my mid-20s growing up, I was just looking at I have to be like them and that kind of stuff, because it's pressure. And maybe loads of entrepreneurs maybe look at you and maybe look at other people, I want to be like them, and just be yourself. Be yourself,
I completely fucking agree.
Exactly. And money, all that kind of stuff, it's just a facade, happiness by being by yourself, understanding who you are, and obviously those triggers enables you to forecast a lot of things down the line, and this is why for me, this is ironic. I'm are breakups that bad after all?
Yeah, facts.
They're horrible, but I wouldn't be here today if some of these breakups didn't happen. That's one thing. And then the other thing would be a black swan events. They're pretty bad. They're pretty bad for most people. They're really bad.
Yeah.
But they
shakes things up.
Exactly. But if you're a person that can adapt to things after a trigger really well, and just take in critics. And don't take it as a criticism, but take it more as a motivational thing, then you're really good at where you are in life,
Yeah.
Because a lot of people have self-doubt on people criticize people and when these triggers happen and stuff like that, But that's why I see it.
Yeah, super interesting. We could probably, I feel like if I had red wine, we'd be going on for 3 hours as well. This is a sober one, and for me, it's fucking philosophical.
Yeah.
I want to wrap up with a question I ask everyone now, and I feel like you'll give a very good answer. If you give yourself 3 bits of advice, going back to, I don't know, maybe when you're 18, something, just about life, entrepreneurship, whatever, what would they be on reflection? 3 best bits.
3 best bits of myself if I had to do it more. Do not care about what people think about you. Do not in one hand, first thing, don't portray yourself as someone that you're not, and don't think about it from a different perspective about how people look at you from that point, It's really important to understand that you are who you are, and don't be, fake. And if you try to be someone who you're not, just to make people happy, like that Fight Club bullshit, and also caring about, because, you're that person, and people love you because you're that person, just don't care about that stuff. People get in this at the age of 18 too much into this kind of stuff because of social media and because of being cool at school and stuff like that. It doesn't mean anything whatsoever when you grow up, and you then lose a lot of insights on things that you probably would be good at down the line. So that's the first thing I would say. Just don't really care about what people think about you, and don't be a fake person. And the second thing I would say is just that watch YouTube videos. YouTube videos are great. They're a great source of knowledge. You can literally find anything on the internet, but YouTube is the best thing because I'm a guy who likes watching videos and I take notes and like look at diagrams and stuff like that. They bring great ideas, you know. And the third thing is have the most like an entourage that's like, you know, full of people, like just something, a plethora of like different characters, personalities, you know, just like and different people from different backgrounds and ideas and concepts. Because my advice to a lot of people there is that like if you're operating once more in the red ocean, you will see that like it's gonna be really hard to like scale at one point.
Yeah.
But if you're able to speak to loads of people, have good friends, not only do you get contacts in different places in life, but you're able to like put together ideas, which enables you to create new innovations, new ideas, new ways of thinking, new ways of doing, which will like enable you as an entrepreneur to, you know, be faster at creating new products and services, you know. And that's what I would say the three. The first two are kind of
no, it's good.
too early, but yeah.
Yeah, fuck, super interesting. This was a fucking interesting episode. I think probably the most varied story and background we've had from all 35-ish guests now. But yeah, fucking hell. Yeah, you've seen some shit. You've seen some parts of life. But we'll wrap it up there because I feel like we've nearly done 2 hours, which actually
really wow, okay,
flies by.
That's crazy.
Yeah, as usual, if you're enjoying the pod, subscribe, recommend it to a friend. We're actually growing quite well. Like the amount of messages I get now off the pod, people saying it's like changed their life and shit. It's mad. Which is, yeah, definitely motivates me to keep doing them. So, yeah, as usual, drop a like, drop a comment, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers for watching. Cheers.